You know, I don't really like chocolate. It's not my thing. But my two favorite snacks to eat are Snickers and peanut M&Ms. I love that shit. I'd eat it until like my mouth feels chalky from all the chocolate that I eat. But that's it. I'm not really eating like a Hershey's almond bar or anything, or like regular M&Ms. But Mise and Blas, Mise. You know, it's one of those other ones. You know, like top 5 tattoos. You know, tell me you're in the industry without telling me you're in the industry. Mise and Blas. I don't have shit on me. You know, I read somewhere that someone described mise en place as the religion of the kitchen. I'm really not for like organized religion. That's not really my jam. I like more of philosophies. You know, like I remember I went to this, I forgot specifically which variation of it was, but it was like a Buddhist thing. You know, I practiced it for like 5 months just to see what it was about. I went to like, you know, their Wednesday night meetings, and you know, they essentially have the same schedule as like a normal Christian church. But theirs is more like, hey, you know what? Is a philosophy. It's just an idea. There's no rules, and it kind of, you know, it's different for everyone, and you kind of just, you know, apply it to the best way as you can onto your life. And I'm probably butchering the definition of like philosophy or like what they were trying to teach me, but I prefer that over like this is the way it is and this is, you know, because you go to different kitchens and different kitchens have different ways of doing things. You know, when you're new and you're training in a new station, the cook that's showing you how to work that station is actually showing you what way works best for him, you know. And as you gain more experience, it's kind of up to you to find out where it works for you. But what the idea behind what works is mise en place, and that is just, you know, everything is in its place. You have, you know, you have your thing set up so that way, you know, we could be looking at like, man, we got reservations tonight. We're looking at about 500 covers for tonight. Sure, you know, like you're going to be busy, but it's not going to be as bad as it would be if you hadn't prepped, you know, if your station wasn't like set, clean, and stocked. It wouldn't be the same if you didn't have the backups. And then, you know, on a deeper level, if it wasn't set up in a way where you don't even have to like I know, let's say like when I'd be working saute at my last job, right? I had it down to a point. It's like, you know, I know like there's the salt, there's the pepper, there's the schmaltz, there's the oil. You just know, you know. And have you ever been in that sort of situation where you have something and someone just moves it and you're like in the middle of service and you grab the wrong thing? You're like, what the fuck? You know? Trigger. 100%. But to take that back even further, I remember the first kitchen I was in with my chef. And it's funny how like you get these stories that pop in your head and you kind of remember exactly where you're standing. And he was telling me about mise en place, and you know, like generally you're always trying to think like 5 steps ahead of what you're gonna do. You know, it comes down, you know, another term that you don't really hear a lot that I learned from him is like economy of movement, right? And that is doing things in the most efficient way possible, right? So for instance, one of my responsibilities as a lead line is I gotta feed the yeast, you know, or make the dough for the rye bread that's gonna be baked off the next day. And so when I walk from, so I'll clock in, right? I clock in, I walk, I say hi to pantry, and check this out. As I'm going there, I'm doing things so I don't have to like trace back my steps, and I can just do one fluid motion to where I need to go. We have a soft serve machine. I immediately check it, make sure it's nice and stocked, it's at the correct level. Then as I'm going there, I know that I'm going to be needing, obviously I put my stuff away, all that kind of shit, right? But once I'm going to go do the dough, okay, I need a large pitcher. I need 2 red tops, 2 red lids. I need a green top and a green lid, right? When you're new at something, yeah, there's going to be a lot of going back and forth. Or it's kind of like when you're doing a recipe, right? It's a lot easier if you just grab a fucking bowl and then you just go and grab everything you need. In some instances, as you're going to the walk-in, right, if you really want to be efficient, you're grabbing also the containers and mixing bowls you need. Openers. If you're an opener, you understand this very well. When you're setting up an entire station, you know how many 9 pans you need. You know how many hotel pans. Do you need a 1/2 inch hotel pan? You need a 2-inch hotel pan. Is it going to be metal? Is it going to be plastic? Do you need razors? Do you need the little grill things that go underneath? Man, you have the system down in a way where everything is just one fluid motion, and you don't have to go back and forth, back and forth. It's economy of movement, bro. That's what he would say. And that falls into mise en place too. It's a way to organize yourself. It's a way to think ahead. They kind of work within each other. One is about setting up, and one is about working efficiently. But I forgot what the other word I wanted to use was. One fluid motion. Sure, we'll go with that. One fluid motion. So he was telling me how he had a chef, I think it was in LA, and he kind of took that to another level. And for him, he kind of, I don't know what this was. I don't know. I wasn't around in like the late 80s, early 90s, but he was almost like this kind of person, like he expected you to live the life. It's like you're a cook or you're a line cook, you do this shit, and you're a cook even when you're off. So you got to apply these things onto your personal life, right? And I remember him telling me, he's like, look, I'm not going to be asking you. I'm not going to be like, hey, are you doing mise en place and efficiency, economy of movement? Are you doing it in your personal life? No. But then fast forward, like, what is it? Fast forward like 6 years later, I remember, I'm in the shower. I'm someone that I'm so glad that there's a subreddit called Shower Thoughts, because it's funny how like it's in your shower where I come up with the most. I'll think of things that even myself, I'm like, damn, I thought about that all by myself. All right, that's cool. I can't tell you how many times video ideas or just like how the flow is gonna go. I say this a million times. I don't script this shit. I straight up just put the camera on the mount. I hit record. Let's go. But I think about it. I think about like just, like a vague idea where things are gonna go. It's like drawing a painting. It's like, I think I'll put a house there, some trees there, and a mountain there. And I'm not sure. Is it going to be a spring portrait? Is it going to be, I don't know, fucking country? I don't know. Listen, it's none of my, I don't care. I'll figure it out as I go along. But then I thought, I was thinking about dieting habits. I thought, like, wouldn't it just be easier if you know what? Let's go back. Fuck the dieting, right? Let's just stick to this kitchen shit, right? Wouldn't it just be easier if I just certain habits that I have in the kitchen, if I just carried them over onto my personal life? And the idea behind it was, it's kind of dumb how like people will I guess we're gonna go back to the health thing. It's it always cracks me up when someone's trying to like get their shit together and I'm gonna start exercising and doing all that kind of shit, right? And they do it 5 days a week, but then they have their cheat days or the weekend, and guess what? I'm just gonna fucking throw all that shit away and I'm gonna fucking eat like a pig and with my cheat day. Fucking hate that shit. It's a kind of ridiculous. Like, how do you expect to gain a habit, a new habit, especially one that's fucking difficult, if you're constantly like, well, I earned a little break, I earned this snack? Wouldn't it just be easier to just be practical? It's like, look, if you want a fucking cupcake, eat the fucking cupcake, but get your workout in. Don't fucking eat a ton of shit all the fucking time. I think that makes more sense, right? So then I think, like, okay, what things? Because it's funny, like, I personally, like, I'll smash work. I'll fucking kick ass. I'll fucking own that shit, right? But then I come home and I'm like, God, like, I don't want to do shit at home. I don't want to hear about projects. I want to sleep in. I want to drink some wine. I want to smoke some weed. I want to play some video games. I want to hang out with my kids. I want to do, there's no, fuck that shit. But then I thought, like, what if some habits carry over, right? So that way it's almost like like, I never abandon that momentum. That momentum doesn't just stop. Instead of having a cheat day, a cheat meal, just fucking, dude, if you want a burger, have the burger. Don't wait for fucking Saturday. But by the time you're fucking drooling, you're like, don't do that. I'm making weird fucking noises. Edit that shit and just make like one compilation of me making fucking weird noises. But what I'm getting at is, and during quarantine, I noticed that it was like, it really helped me out. It really gave me a sense of sanity. Mise en place, the philosophy of it, is something that I think best works when you apply it in every aspect of your life. If your thing is like cleaning after yourself, right? I know, dude, I know cooks, and I know they mean well. And sometimes they just forget to clean their shit up, right? So I'll just start cleaning that shit up, and then, here's a better one. I've started to sort of approach the house like a restaurant. I have my opening duties, my night duties. Like, for instance, morning duties. I need to put the dishes, I need to put them away, right? I put them away, and then I just kind of just do a light pickup, a vacuum, right? That's just an example, things I actually do before I go to work, right? At my last job, we had this habit of we would do this 2:00 cleanup. It was like a mid-afternoon cleanup. Everyone stops what they're doing. You kind of just stop whatever project you're doing, and then everyone takes out trashes, sweeps, mops. It's like a nice reset, and it helps you set up for PM service, because there's nothing fucking worse than, like, you get slammed in AM, which is fucking cool. It happens. And then you come in and the station still looks bombed out. And ever notice how, like, your mood just changes depending on what environment you're walking into? Like, you really think I feel fucking thrilled if I come home and everything's just like a fucking mess? And I'm not blaming him. I'm not blaming my wife. Me, it's both of us. We should be doing this shit, but it's like, sometimes it gets the best of you and you're like, Jesus, fuck. The fuck, man. Mise en place. Everything in its place, not just physical, man. Here, everything I have to do has to be in its place. So I'll do maybe like before my wife gets home, okay, get the trash, take it out, empty it, start putting away dishes, make sure everything looks reasonable. Why? Because the kids are just going to end up fucking wrecking the fucking house all over again. I am in no illusion that somehow I'm ever going to get this house in a state where, when you have kids, trust me, it shows, unless you have someone coming in, a third party coming in and just helping out, or you're just that fucking hardcore OCD. But let me tell you, in this household with two parents that work full fucking time, I have to decide what's more fucking important sometimes. Sometimes, you know what, I'm just not going to pick up the living room because I'd rather hang out with my kid. But it helps when there's just this, it helps when I have these lists that I need to go through in my head. And it just helps because like once you're doing that, right, and then you go to work, you're already in that mode, you're already thinking about that, when one of the biggest like nice wins that we've recently gotten that I feel like we really have a great hold of is grocery shopping. Once I started to learn sort of like how a chef does orders, when he thinks 2 days in advance, 3 days in advance, or it's like, what, the last meat order comes on Thursday, so on Wednesday night you have to order for Thursday, Fridays, or whatever, how it is. Like some day you can't, some days you just have to order meat for the next 3 days, and you have to figure out like, okay, well, is it going to be busy? Are we, let's see, is there a festival going on that might take away business? Is there something going on that might bring business in? And you kind of start figuring this shit out. And it really, you learn how to really think ahead as far as what you'll need. And it's really cool once you're able to do these lists and then you see the delivery comes in, and then within that week everything went perfectly. Because you don't want like the boss to come in and ask you why the fuck you bought way more fucking celery than you actually needed. One Thanksgiving, I miscalculated how much celery I need, and I had my wife bring me 7 full stalks of celery. 7. And you know what the fuck, all I needed was 7 little sticks. But 7, that was my bad, man. That was miscommunication. But in time, in applying it took months. It's like little projects that I make for myself. I'm not giving myself like a time yet. It's like, you know what, I want to tackle this. And so for me it was, okay, I started looking at like, what are the must-haves every day in this house. Let me tell you something. It's going to be kielbasa, eggs, and milk, and creamer, espresso. And I can tell you exactly, like, my son loves milk. That fucker puts away milk, right? So we need about 4 gallons for 2 weeks. I prefer to shop for 2 weeks worth of food. So, we'll buy the fruits that we need. We'll buy the vegetables that I'm going to be using. And I know, and I'm not just buying random fucking shit. Like, I know exactly, I got the 4 gallons of milk, and then I have like 1 gallon of creamer. Okay. And then we'll do a medium packet of grapes, because grapes kind of go bad, and that can go for the first week, and then maybe a small strawberry, and then just mix and match. Or another perfect example. So that one is how work can help you in your personal life, but also like my personal life, how it transferred over. Another one that I thought of was chefs, or at least every chef that I've had has always made that analogy that managing people is a lot like managing children. You kind of just have to figure out what motivates them, how to motivate them, and get them to go. Because especially in this kitchen that I'm at, the company that I'm at, you're not coming in with your fucking Gordon Ramsay attitude. You're not coming in with your fucking passive aggressive bullying. No. We don't do that. Can you talk in a certain tone? Yeah, come on, dude. Like, there's gonna be assertiveness to it. I think there's a certain level of aggression that's accepted and that I'm willing to accept, as long as the chef can back it up. Like, you're a good leader, so I understand that you're asking a lot of me because you expect and you know that I'm capable of giving you that, right? So with that being said, it is like managing children. You just got to find out what motivates them. And so again, another shower thought. I'm like, hold up a minute. Like, when I'm with my kid, man, they could have me at my wit's end. I don't fucking just like grab him and also like, I'm gonna fuck you up. Not at all, dude. I probably just like take that deep breath and just, okay, I need to fucking talk to this little human like a person. I need to figure out how to fucking calm the situation down, right? Or like, you go to the bank or like anywhere else, like, are you the type to start just fights with people because they fucking bumped into you or they said something that was super rude to you? You can't just be doing that. You can't be acting like a fucking fool like out here in these streets, right? So you learn how to either, like, I'll gladly walk away from fucking lady. Like, I will gladly let you call me a fucking pussy. I'll walk away, say whatever you want, but guess what? When I go home, my kids are gonna hug me, my wife's gonna give me a hug and a kiss, and I'm gonna be ready, and you know what? I'm not even gonna be thinking about you. So, let's carry that mentality over to the kitchen. Instead of being that like passive aggressive or aggressive person that I used to be. Because yeah, I mean, old me for sure. You had to. It was like that's the environment. I didn't know any better. A lot of us didn't know better. It's not that we want to be dicks. It's like it's sometimes it just feels like it's the fucking Wild West out here, you know. And you don't have like I just need like something. I just need something that sticks in my head, so I can like work off of it. And for me, realizing like really, it's like okay, if I can be patient like this with kids at home and adults out in the real world, why am I not? Because it sounds like I'm just giving myself an excuse to be an asshole. You know what I mean? Um, and I did, and it took time. I'm talking minimum 6 months, max maybe 11, 12, maybe up to a year of just working on patience, working on these little, again, little tidbits habits. At night, we have a closing thing. So like right now it's 12:30, right? I want to try and pick up a little bit. I want to make sure I want to stock the dishes into the dishwasher, get them to work. So that way when I'm asleep, again, efficiency, being efficient with my time. I fall asleep, these dishes are working, right? It's like a chef needs to be able to work like 5 different fucking projects at once. If you got hummus mixing in the fucking Roboku, you could be picking, you know, parsley or cutting tomatoes for a salad that you're gonna make. You know, it's just there's so much overlap. You know, there's things that you're learning in the kitchen beyond food that you could easily apply into your life. And when you don't give yourself that like time frame, or when you allow yourself, like, you know what? Like just like any service, some days you're gonna fucking own that shit and some days you're gonna fuck it up. Well, maybe not fuck it up, but it's not gonna go as well as you want, you know? Some days are not gonna go as well. It doesn't mean you fucking give up and it's like, okay, well, start at step one all over again. You're not a fucking, this isn't drug addiction. This isn't like AA. You made a mistake, take it on the chin, and move forward, you know? Some days, the house is just a fucking mess, dude. Some days, you know, I'm in my fucking rhythm and it feels great. So you gotta find what, you know, kick back, think back, like what were some things in your life that like it's funny because if this was the kitchen, that wouldn't be acceptable, right? There's things that we do in the kitchen that we do, and the best it's really awesome when you do it so much that it inspires other people and other cooks begin to follow. And before you know it, then it just becomes that's just the way we do it, you know. And as my chef told me a couple weeks ago, like it's cool that I want to start certain habits like cleaning, like pulling out drawers and cleaning, you know, on low boys, making the plancha like as chromed out beautifully clean as possible, right? I can have these great ideas, but I have to set the example, and that example isn't going to come in 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. We're talking a matter of weeks. And if I give myself like I'm going to do it in 8 months, I don't know the personalities. Some personalities take longer to crack. Some personalities take longer to get in or to have these breakthroughs. Some personalities just aren't gonna fucking vibe with that, you know. And you again, which is why mise en place to me, it's 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 less about it being a religion and more of a philosophy, because the idea of it is fantastic, but the execution is going to be different. Okay, how I apply mise en place and might be different from you. What I think is important might not be important to you, you know. And again, with the kitchen, maybe your kitchen, it's like, the fuck, man, we're not pulling out low boys to clean up. We have, you know, every Sunday, I've made Sundays a day where I change the aluminum foil for the burners, because I guess we have a company that does it, but I don't see them fucking doing it. Those burners just keep getting grosser and grosser and grosser. So once a week, that's the habit. I just wrapped up week 2. You know, I expect a point where the cooks just know that at a certain time, you know what, let's start doing it. But it takes time for me to get there. And instead of me saying this is, you know, I'll say, hey, I think this is the way it should be, and then I'm just gonna let my actions speak for themselves. So, and just the way at home, you know, it's, do you know how cool it is when, you know, you have a spouse or you have a friend or just anyone, and you're doing something over and over and over, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, I'm so sorry I didn't get to this. I know you've been making that effort. Or, hey, you've been doing this, so I decided to do that. It's a great feeling. So, mise en place, I know it goes kind of everywhere with this, and maybe it's not the direction you would expect, but really, mise en place is less of a religion, more of a philosophy. Try to find ways, try to find things that overlap your personal life with your professional life, and your professional life with your personal life. You'd be surprised just how you have the skills to do some of these things that you want to. You just didn't, you never bothered to make that connection. You know, you kind of give yourself that excuse to slack off when you get at home because you're off, or you're, you know, you do certain things at work and not at home because, well, you know, my boss is going to see it and blah, blah, blah. What about yourself? What about your own standards, right? You know, you got standards. Why would you lax your standards? They're your standards, you know? If you have low standards, it's cool. You have low standard, but don't fucking go lower than what they already are. Figure out where you stand and just tackle it one task at a time. And before you know it, whatever your standards are at now, in a year, 2 years, guess what? And that's progress. Have a great service, guys.